Spider's Web, and in this video we're going to be finishing off C3P Groot. I'm not going to do this one yet, it's a little bit late at the moment. I need to be up early, so I'm just going to finish off this fella. We'll get doing the beast a little later, or we'll start it off in the next video. So what have we done with this? If you remember from the last video, we base coated it with Balthazar Gold, which is this colour, and then what I've done on camera, I gave it a wash of Worthy de Vallejo Drakenhof Nightshade, and when it dried it looked a little bit patchy, so I gave it another wash. So it's had two washes of Drakenhof Nightshade to give it that bluish effect. But what we're going to do is going to give it a dry brush with Iron Breaker. We make this a very simple technique for painting. It's a simple technique, and I'm hoping you're going to think it's an effective technique as well. It will be handy doing this way if you're a 40k player doing Necrons. And it's just around as a doing a gentle dry brush around the head first of all, and then over the rest of the body. And there we are. It's not, as I say, a very overpowering colour scheme or technique we're using. It's very simple. As you can see, and the blue from the Agrax shade, the blue from the Drakenhof Nightshade resting in the recesses in this just really adds a little something to the finished model, do you not think? There we are. But if we look at the card, or the character card for this model, I'm going to get it out in a moment when I've just dried and brushed off. You will see that there are a couple of areas of white in this, so we're going to try and replicate that, I think. So what we're going to be using is fine brush, in fact not white, changed my mind on that idea, we're going to use yellow, although I may have to use white to do the base coat for that, but we'll try Flash Kit Yellow first of all. And just get straight into the eyes. One eye. Two eye. And the next is this bit here. think, is it? No, it isn't. So let's just quickly wash the brush and try and get that yellow off. It's not what I thought it was at all. So I may have to go over again with the Prelude Gold and the Drakenhof Nightshade. So leave that there. And we'll come back to that one a little later when it's the paint has dried. It's not actually that part, it's this little recess here. Needs doing, along with the recess in the arm here, and here. Is there anywhere else? Well, it's showing under the neck as well. So what I'm going to do is just want a very thin ring of this yellow around its neck, and I get some very watery paint, very dilute version of this paint, and give a wash. When it's all dry. There we go. Let's see if there's any more areas like that. I can't see any. So we'll leave it at that for the time being, and then what we want to do is add some of the Drakenhof Nightshade to the Prelude Gold that we had to add. Just like so. There's a few areas I'm going to do with this again, I think, just to change the colour slightly. There we are. So we'll leave that to dry, and when we come back I can finish off. But while we're waiting for that bit to dry, we can always go over the base with the black like we've done with the other two. There we go. It's just a case of round the edge of the base to match in with the other chaps, but to all intents and purposes he's done. Just a couple of little steps here and there that need to be completed before we can finally say he's finished, and in this video we're going to have a way up. It's stuck. Hang on a second, hang on a second. Oh, what else? That's better. I've got some paint on the bottom and I put it down, it's stuck. Okay, so what we're going to be doing is finishing the final touches to the puppet here, and that is using iron breaker straight out of the pot. We're not faffing about because we only want a very small amount of this, and that's going over the top of his head and over this area here, which, if you remember, we had to readjust yesterday, in the last video. I'm saying yesterday. Okay, so that's that done. Next bit, what we need to do is using fine brush and flash gits yellow. Okay, let me just get my head lamp on so I can see what I'm looking at. Okay, so we have flash gits yellow on a fine brush, and that will go in there like so. And I'm going to touch up on the other areas to make an incredibly vibrant yellow. And there we are. And then it's a case of adding some of the flash gits yellow to our wet palette, and we're going to use it as a wash to go around the areas where we've just been, and it's going to be a very, very wet mix, very diluted, and it's just going to be around the and around here. And around his eyes as well, just to show that there is light coming from this and it's not just yellow. And I'm hoping that does do what I want it to do. There we go, and that's the puppets finished. Except for one tiny thing which I've just seen, which I'm not too pleased at the way it's looking. So we're just going to try it, see if we can sort something out with it, with the Carrollberg Crimson, which is the wash that we used for this, and that is to add a line going straight down the front of his face in that little crease, just like so. I'm going to add a little bit more just up here. There we are. And that is it, as I say, for the puppet. Now what we are wanting to do is get on with the beast. Now, the beast. What colour could we do the beast? Well, if we look at his card, 2022, he is a bluish colour. Now whether that's to do with the lighting or whether it is actually his colour, I'm not sure, but we could just do washes of Drakenhof Nightshade, but I don't want to do that yet. I want to do washes of Null Oil all over his fur first of all. And as I said, just over his fur. I'm trying to make this what's the word I'm looking for? I'm trying to show you easy ways of getting a decent paint job with these models, because there's not all that many, we can afford to do so. We're still going to get a good job, you know, a good look to the minis, but as I say, just showing you different ways of getting a good effect. Finally, there's not much left to go. Do a bit more over his ear, his jowls here, and I think that is it for the, and I'm using the word base coat here because that's basically what it is. This is the base coat, even though it is a wash. Okay, now we can't do anything more with him until we've finished. But he will look different when we do start. And I think some of my Citadel brushes, this is supposed to be a large brush. Look at the state of it. I think some of these brushes are going to be retired very, very soon. Now, let us push the beast to one side and have a look at Cobra here. Now, this is the first one of our agents models that we're going to be doing, and I don't want to use the Null Oil, which is this one, which I've just used for the beast, because traditionally ninjas weren't wearing all black, but I don't want to do anything fairly pale, so with this one I am going to be using Drakenhof Nightshade, simply because I do like it. However, I'm going to use the Drakenhof Nightshade with, okay, so we have our little Ujit that I want to use. I just want to make sure there's nothing in it that's going to cause problems. And I'm just going to put some of the Agrax Earthshade in here. I want a fair bit of it. Come on, get in. There we are. I think that will do. I hope that will do. And then I'm going to mix into that some of the Reichland Flesh Shade, which is this colour. So we're mixing, where are you now? I'll put you down one. Where have I put you? Heck, what's there? So we're mixing some Drakenhof Nightshade and Reichland Flesh Shade in together to give us hopefully a quite interesting colour. We'll find out whether it is an interesting colour when it starts mixing together. And I want a bit more of this Reikland Flesh shade than the Drakenhof Nightshade, because, let's face it, I want the Reikland Flesh shade to have some impact on this. And we just keep adding something. As you can see, it's taking a little bit of time because the bristles on this brush basically past its sell by date, I think. And let's see what we have. That looks interesting. Let's blap it on, shall we? And it's a little darker than the Agrax Earth shade. And it's not as dark as the what you call it, the Nuln Oil or the Drakenhof Nightshade, because I didn't want it incredibly dark, because I am going to be using some darker colours in with this, as well as paler colours. And using some of the paler colours on top of this will work really well. Notice how I'm not doing the sword. That's going to be a metallic finish, so there's no point in painting the sword with this colour. As you can see, where there's a very large smooth surface, it's not actually building up. It is attaching itself to the raised areas, or around the raised area should I say, which is what it's supposed to do. We're just trying to make sure that it doesn't pull up too much and we'll lose detail. Oops, I can keep hold of his sword, can't I? There we go. That will do nicely for him. Now what I'm trying to work out is why the battery thing's going. Isn't the battery? Yeah, the battery thing's going in, yet it's plugged in. No, it should be plugged in, but it won't work. Weird. It's saying I've got 2 minutes to go, so I think I've done everything really I can for the time being. I don't want to be doing too much and going too far ahead. But the Beast is washed and Cobra is washed, and we're going to be carrying on with those two when we come back after the washes have dried. I hope you've enjoyed these videos, or this video. Until next time, as always, take care, God bless, and bye for now.